decipher AI and trust AI chain. Can we celebrate Dr. Lola Longe? She's a thought leader, and it will be fantastic for her to give us her perspective. Also, we have one who is just like us. She's a business leader and also trying to make sense of today's world of artificial intelligence. She loves artificial intelligence, so she's a nerd. I'd like you to welcome Ms. Adesewa Greg-Ighodaro. She works in the real estate industry, and organization is Homework Group Africa, and she'll be giving our own perspective of how artificial intelligence, has shaped the way she sees the world, and of course, how she conducts her business. So my name is Babatunde Bangboye, and I am part of the Triad Masterclass series. I'm one of 3 people. All right, so let's get straight into the conversation. And if you don't mind, I would like to just jump on what Dr. Lola had said earlier on. She's just to give you a background, we had asked the question around how do we make sense of artificial intelligence? How do we truly make sense from a business perspective? And of course, for those of us who are working within an organization, how do we make sense? And she's giving her perspective of that. And she said a very important statement. And she said, listen, guys, artificial intelligence actually hallucinates. So, Dr. L, take it away from there.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Bangwe, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. So, based on our conversation, we're just deliberating on something before we officially opened. We're talking about AI hallucinating. So, before going into that, first thing I would say is there's something called AI literacy, which means that we all need to know about AI. We just cannot turn blind eyes to AI. It's here to stay, and it's always been in existence. So I will just throw that out there. AI literacy is very important at every level. And then back to the hallucinating. What that means is, I will just explain so that people will understand it.
Yeah.
So when they say that AI hallucinates, what it does is you give it a prompt, and then it gives you output. That output is giving you is not necessarily right. You still need to fact check. It would give you, in fact, there will be references for you to look at. For instance, maybe a student is trying to get an outline for a project. It would give you the website. It will give you the references, things that you can cite. If you now go deeper, trying to find the particular website or the resources, you find out that nothing like that actually exists, and that is hallucination. Hallucination is basically getting an output and then you're finding out that everything is false. So AI is good at doing that. And that is why human in the loop is very, very important. What that means is anytime you are getting anything out of AI, you have to fact check as a human. There has to be a human interaction. As it's giving it out, you have to do your own due diligence. Go and make your own research. Just don't run blindly with whatever AI dishes out to you, because you might find out that everything is wrong. And I cited an example earlier, which I will do right now. So there's a case of an attorney in the USA that he used generative AI. In this case, it was ChatGPT that to do his briefs, because, as attorneys, you have to be able to cite cases, you make references and all that. He got everything from the AI tool. He got to the courthouse, presented his case to defend his client, only to find out that everything that he produced were wrong. All of the things that he produced, they were wrong. They were all false. Right now, the case is still in court, and he's probably going to be losing his license. So in essence, we have to be very careful using AI. Sorry, did I hear a question or something?
No, please continue. Continue.
Okay, yeah, so we always have to fact check at every point in time. Don't run blindly with AI. AI is still not human. That human judgment is still very, very important. Whether you're a teacher, regardless of the industry where you are working, you always, always need to fact check. You just don't rely on AI, because AI is just more like a robot. It's been trained with data, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always right. And then for us human, we need the judgment, the empathy. And that is why AI has been restricted in some areas. Like in the medical field, yes, it can help a little bit, but we still need the doctors to be able to do their facts. For awarding credit to people, assessing people's information is not something that you can commit totally to an AI tool. Humans still need to play their own role. At every point in time, if I'm trying to get a credit from my bank, you have to look at the background, your salary, and all of that. It's not something you just can leave all together in the hands of the AI. You, as a human being, you still need to come in and check, okay, this person is not meeting up to the criteria. Are we just going to leave it like that and say that, oh, Lola is not going to get this credit? No, we still need to check, okay, how is the AI making the decision and things like that. So it's very important. AI is very important to us, but at the same time, we as humans, we have to always, always do our own due diligence and not leave everything to AI because it hallucinates.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And again, and just with that same case, you also make reference to even one of the top four consulting firms. I won't mention their names. They also had a challenge sometime last year, which they lost that particular engagement. They had to repay the money back to their clients. So I want this one from your own perspective. I'd like you to sort of come into this. Right. So you are a business leader, right? And there's a lot of things that Dr. L has said around hallucination. So two things I'd like to ask you, then Dr. Lola will come back later and add her own thoughts. Two things. The first thing I'd like to ask you is, from your perspective, what is AI to you? That's one. And number two, based on what Dr. Lola had said with regards to hallucination, what I hear her say is, okay, that we need to become more responsible. So, from your perspective as a business leader, how do you, what would you advise business leaders to do responsibly in adopting AI within the organization as a tool for optimizing efficiency, be more effective in terms of production and productivity and all of that? All right, Adesewa, take it away.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and having this conversation. Okay, so the first question, what is AI to me? Any technology that helps me to do my work without me being there, or without me necessarily imputing my energy into it at every level, is artificial intelligence. I'll give you an example. Today, we can send a chat on any bank's website and we already have answers. Somebody answers us. For my company, our AI assistant is called Halima. So you go to my website, you want to buy property. Hello, hi, my name is Halima. What do you want? And Halima helps us to, first of all, qualify you as a lead. We're all sleeping. You're in Canada, we're in Nigeria, you want to buy, Halima is already answering. Example number two, we're in this meeting right now. I'm not taking notes, but I have an AI assistant taking notes already, right? So any technology that helps me to do my work faster, not necessarily better, because sometimes you have to still edit, but faster. Yeah, faster is artificial intelligence. Number two, when Dr. L said AI hallucinates, I remember the case where some people had done a job for a client and they had stated, examples, and they were so excited that they had delivered the job. And the client comes and says, this thing does not exist. Go and check it again. And it was true. I believe that AI thrives on patterns. AI thrives on the data that it has gotten. AI thrives on what you have fed it with. AI will now sometimes, because of what it has been fed with, come up with something that looks like And that's where the hallucination comes in. I don't know if everybody can hear me. It's looking like it was.
Yeah,
No,
no, we hear you perfectly.
It looked like it froze for a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
As business leaders, you said, what are the ways that we can, as business leaders, responsibly adopt? I believe that there are two ways that as business leaders, any technology, not even just artificial intelligence, any technology is embraced. Number one is excitement. Number two is overwhelm. Excitement, not necessarily, oh, we're happy, for something to come and do our work faster. The excitement of something new has come. Let's try it. You don't consider if there are people within your system that may be able to use it. You don't consider the cost, and not just cost in getting it, cost in training for people to use it. You don't consider your business strategy for maybe a period of 5 years. What will artificial intelligence do for you? Do you even need it at the level at which you're trying to get it? The ones that you have, or the people that you have, do they have capacity, to get into the nitty-gritty of that artificial intelligence tool to now begin to adopt it, for the organization? That's for excitement. Sometimes we're too excited about technology. We don't, in fact, on both levels, you're so excited, you don't get to understand it. You either want to be the first business, so we say first mover advantage. You want to be the first business that used it. And then in doing that, so many times you waste money, you waste resources, instead of just sitting back and analyzing your strategy to see, okay, within this strategy, what is the first level of adoption or engagement for the kind of artificial intelligence that we need, if we need it. The second type of people are the overwhelmed people. That once you hear, oh, there's a new technology, everybody starts carrying the narrative that media has presented. You don't necessarily go to look for the understanding of it. You carry the media is very powerful. So you hear, oh, artificial intelligence is going to take your job. You're already thinking you are useless. You're not. Because artificial intelligence is only as intelligent as you are. The intelligence part of it is only as intelligent as you are. It's what you give it to do. So as an organization or as a business leader, it's important for us to balance out any technological update or technological information that we get. What does this have to do with my business? Do I really need it? In real estate, for example, I think I said something before we even came on. I said at the basic level, everybody's already engaging it. Everybody's engaging it. It now depends on how you are engaging it to upskill, to increase your relevance and increase the relevance of your organization. Not necessarily you being in all over your head and trying to say, oh, how is this thing going to take my job? How is this thing? And sometimes even doing that, you can underskill yourself because you are engaging in the learning of the artificial intelligence that you don't need. You think that you're trying to catch up, but what you're trying to do in essence is actually throw yourself out of relevance because you want to know what AI is all about. So basically, I believe my answer is it's important to balance out what we get from the media on what artificial intelligence is and put it side by side what we do as an organization and the journey or the track of our leadership, even as we grow in our industry.
Wow. Well, Adesewa, a lot of things and from a business perspective, and you have looked at in terms of the bandwidth, business leaders who are very excited and they just quickly adopt without really understanding the implications of this adoption to the strategic imperative of the business. And at the other end, those who are overwhelmed, who are already skeptical and pessimistic about the fact that there's this technology that can be an aid, like the word you use, an enabler. So for you, what I hear you say is businesses need to find the middle ground. They need to truly understand the importance and look at AI at scale. Adopt it where you are right now and begin to make sense of it as it speaks to where you are going. Thank you so much. In fact, Shawa, you're just blowing my mind. But you also mentioned something, and I saw a comment by Pat, speaking about this thing about hallucination, and I will jump back to Dr. L, and I'm also going to talk, and I want, from Pat's argument when you talked about hallucination, what I hear her say is that if artificial intelligence has hallucination, it creates a risk for businesses, i.e., with that lawyer, right? How against
He's breaking.
Because
it's breaking up. Okay.
You are breaking up. So that sentence is like incomplete.
And you adopt it, right? The question to help mitigate this risk, or what are the just sort of take us through it one more time, those potential risks that we need to think about and how we can mitigate it. And I also want Adesewa to also think about it from our own business perspective as well.
Okay, so you were breaking up while you were talking about the questions. Yeah, everything was just fragmented.
Was it breaking? Oh, I
Yes.
apologize. Let me repeat that again.
Please do. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
You mentioned hallucination, and Pat was asking the question here. There's a comment. She's saying that, let me read what she said. She says that while I agree with the necessity of fact checking, I'm so curious about what causes AI to hallucinate. So could the imputed data be wrong? That is from the user, or is it an intentional bug to make us think?
Okay, I got the question.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so this person is wanting.
Please go on.
Okay, so this person is wanting to know why AI hallucinates. Isn't that the question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So one thing about AI is we have different types of AI. This particular one in question, because we're talking about GPT, putting in an input and expecting an output, is called generative AI. Generative AI means that it generates content. It could be audio, it could be text, it could be videos. It will generate something for you. Now, the way generative AI has been structured is it's been trained with billions of data. When I say billions, I mean copies of data. It's a lot, right? It has everything trained in it. So it needs to generate pattern by predicting probability. So when you prompt it, it has a whole lot of data that you can get things from. So when you give it a prompt, it would search and give you an output. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that output it has given out to you is actually right. And that is why they keep training and updating it. If something happens today, AI has to be trained on that data so that when we put inputs, it will be able to generate. Because it has tons of data that is getting its resources from, there are cases, more than likely, times that it's going to give you something that you are not even asking, and it will mask it like it's actually real. And that is where the hallucination comes from. When we look at it, it's still not human. If you ask me something, Lola, it's either I know or I don't know. And I should be honest enough to tell you that, look, this thing that you have asked me, I don't know. GPT, generative AI tools, they don't know how to do that. They have to give you something. The only thing is they might be hesitant because we've seen cases of people committing suicides and all that, asking the AI tool. Now it's been trained that when you see things that are negative like that, shut down. Give a response that what you're asking me, I'm not allowed to tell you. But we'll talk about cases of, because we have the gurus that know how to jailbreak. They know things that they still can do further and make it come up with the outputs that they want. But initially, it will force to refuse. So I believe if everybody is literate enough in AI to understand that this thing is not human, that's the first step. So when it hallucinates, it's no longer going to be a surprise to you because you already know that this thing is actually trained on data. It's not human, right? And then when we talk about training, we have individual companies like Adesewa said, in her company, there's Halima. Halima's case is different. You can't go to Halima and say that I need a bottle of Coca-Cola. It has not been trained to answer that question. What it has been trained on is something that is specific to their real estate industry, right? So we still talk about that individual organizations, they need to have their own AI trained specific to their data. So that the whole reason why we are doing this is that for AI not to hallucinate, so that it's going to be structured on what is going to be asking you. But for the general tools like ChatGPT, which we all use, it has corpus of data, is going to hallucinate because everything is just general. You could ask it, oh, I want to make popcorn today. How do I cook it? It's been trained with all kinds of data. So we have to be very careful. It's not specific. So that is where hallucination comes from. And I will employ everyone, anything you get out of the AI tool, still do a fact check. Don't run with it and believe that it is okay. Otherwise, it's something that can even cripple an entire organization. When you are relying on the wrong data, it is very, very, it's terrible. It's just something that you shouldn't do. And talking about organizations, you have to be able to empower your members of staff, train them, make them understand what AI is, and just don't start throwing people out and be replacing them, because actually AI is not even good for all kinds of businesses. You have to know what you are doing. Do I need AI? And that is why the AI experts, they would come in, they will assess your company, give you a roadmap if it's something that you need or if it's something that you don't need at all. AI is not for everybody.
Wow, Dr. Lola, there's so many things that you have said in that, so many things. You've spoken about training your member of staff. You've talked about even some of the things that we need to mitigate against, which is how to train AI. But I would like to just hold on, and I'd just like to hear Shewa's perspective about some of those risk factors that you need to think about and how you need to mitigate against them. I mean, Dr. Lola has spoken about assessing, she has spoken about training AI to meet your own specific needs. What are the other things that you need to think about from a business perspective?
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that there's a general unconscious illusion that AI replaces human effort or human input. It's just unconscious. I personally strongly believe that a lazy person should not be using AI. You've got to be really intelligent. You've got to be very self-aware. You've got to know what you are really looking for to be able to get what you really need. So you have to be business aware to the extent to which you want to see what your business outcomes will look like. So if I put something into GI, for example, and I say, give me this, it's like you're interacting with a human being, with your EA, for example, and your EA has not given you what you're looking for. You keep probing. But what we see these days is the first thing it gives you, even as a human being, your first ideas are not always the best. You've got to drill, you've got to meditate, you've got to sit down and think deeper, you've got to process, you've got to break it, tear it apart. And that's how we're supposed to be engaging in. So it is not, it doesn't replace, it's a partner and it's an enabler. So it can be wrong. It's in fact, at some levels, it must be wrong, because if you're very much aware of where you're going as a leader or as a business, it would, when it suggests certain things to you, you can pick the erroneous factors, because that's not what we're looking for. So to mitigate the risk is to grow in our leadership identity. To mitigate the risk is to grow in the expanse of our thinking for what we want our businesses to look like, so that you're not just consuming what it gives you, rather you are demanding from it to deliver better strategic thinking for you as a business.
What I hear you say is so spot on, and just like every form of adoption, you need to have policies that guides that adoption within the business, because at the end of it all, you don't want to. Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear
Now
you.
we can.
Yeah. Like you said, you need to have a policy guide that guides that conversation, or else what will happen is that you will just see that you're just thrown all over the place. And just like you said, somebody rightly said it, that you're just dropping bars. It says a lazy person should not be using AI. In fact, these ladies, I'm just enjoying myself, and it should spot, and that's what the policy should do, to guide. What is that process that will help us ensure that we have right output and ensure that people are measured with the right KPIs, so that they don't get sitting on their oars and just being lazy? But part of these risks, and you've mentioned training, you've mentioned hallucination, you've mentioned all of these things. Dr. Lola, before I come back to you, Shawa mentioned that we have a lot of businesses today that are very excited. And let me pause a bit. Please, if you have questions, please throw your questions. I'll be reading them as we go. We want to just make this as fluid and as conversational as possible. So if you have your question, please throw your questions. And if you feel that there's something that you really need to ask, you can just show using the reaction icon. All right, very quickly. For the excited business entrepreneur who is, let's get AI and kick people out, how would you advise such a person? I know Shawa has mentioned one or two things, but from your own perspective, how would you advise that entrepreneur who is so excited because he or she has seen how AI has made her work, and she has seen that, oh wow, I'm making more money. All I need to do is to kick 1, 2, 3, 4 people out, and I'm reducing my operational cost and all of that. The question is, how would you guide such people who are excited about what AI can do as an enabler?
Okay, so what I would tell these companies that we will start with governance and policy. One thing about AI is that it amplifies what is already there. If your governance, if your policy is weak, guess what is going to happen when you bring in AI? It's going to worsen it for you. But if your governance is really good, it would amplify it and make it better for you. So I would say that within the company, you have to always look inwards. Who are the people making policies? Who are the people responsible for each part of the production cycle? Everybody needs to know what AI is doing. You should be able to defend every decision. Everything is dishing out for you. So it's like a flow chart. You start from the top, and then it goes on all the way to get the output that you're looking for. So governance is very, very important. And people would have to be accountable at each point. Who is doing the verification? If both of us are working on something, there should be someone that is fact checking and then verifying. If anything goes wrong, it should be traceable. Let's go back to this particular place. So governance is very, very important at every point, up until the time that whatever we are doing is released to production, is flowing out. And if anything happens, we should be able to come back and be able to trace it. So it's a cycle that everyone would have to be involved in. It involves coding. Not everyone is going to be able to code. So everybody is going to have his or her own role to play anytime you are engaged with any AI tool. So governance is the first thing that I would mention, and it involves the policies around the AI tool that we are using. We have to have people accountable. And I'll go back to what I said initially. There's something called human in the loop. We always have to have humans interact at every point in time. Without that, everything is just doomed, to fail, whatever we're trying to do. It might be a fantastic idea. The company might have been assessed that is fit to use the particular AI tool, but if the governance is weak, if nobody is being accountable, if we are not able to trace anything back then, we still cannot achieve anything. So governance is very, very important. policies around the AI use.
And I hear you about governance and policy, and thank you for sort of clarifying that. I would like to stay with you for a while. Then, Shara, please think about this.
Okay.
Now, what about the legal issues that may arise? So, for instance, um, I am interacting with Halima, and Halima sort of gives me an information that, without some form of disclaimer, I'm just using as an example, without a disclaimer, and I sort of go gung ho on that information, and maybe Halima has not been properly trained, so there's some form of misinformation. How do we safeguard ourselves from those legal issues that may sort of arise from those things? So I remember, for instance, when Google Pixel, with one of their phones, and I think I was sharing this with Shara, they have this AI tool that they use, like Siri, and what it does is that if you're not around, the AI picks up your call and begins to talk, answering questions and all of that. So, for instance, if it's a contract and the person sort of agrees to whatever contract that is the AI tool, right? What are those legal issues that you need to sort of consider and think about from such issues that may arise from AI giving misinformation, and most importantly, how AI interacts with your customer?
Okay, so the legal implication is very high. We know data is the new gold, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's
Yeah.
gotten a whole lot of people into trouble. We have to be very careful when it comes to data. We have to have guardrails to protect people's data. When it comes to AI, I would keep saying it over and over. That's the only way people will understand. If I start telling you that AI is not human, like Adesewa said, it is what you feed it with, and then it would get information from other database, so to speak, and give it out to you. So the legal implication is very, very high. We have to be able to safeguard data. You just don't throw out people's data out there. We're talking about maybe bank accounts, date of birth. Those are things that they have legal implications if it leaks out, and it's something that anybody can just speak and impersonate, do terrible things in other people's information. So those are part of the legal implications. And then relying on it to give advice to your customers, that is a no-no, especially when it comes to finances, medical, even around police report and all that. AI is something that they keep at bay. Humans still need to come in. Okay, let me give you an example as well. Yeah, human in the loop. For instance, we have issues of monitoring cameras everywhere. That is AI, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we've seen situations whereby it's a matter of looking alike. He's not exactly that person, but AI, because he's been trained with different kinds of images, it would attribute someone that didn't go to the building to steal and say that the image matches this person from what I am able to predict, and then the wrong person is going to be indicted. So AI, when it comes to data, we have to be very careful. Human in the loop is something that we still need. People have gotten into diverse kinds of trouble. Never rely on AI. It's just a mere robot. It's just been trained. It doesn't have empathy. The judgment can be extremely poor. So those are huge legal implications right there for any organizations that is just adopting AI just because now is the in thing. I have to use it because other people are using it. No, you don't have to use AI. It's not every company that is well suited for AI. We have to look at what exactly you are doing. Can AI fit into this? What is it that AI can do? Maybe it's just a very little portion of what the company is doing that requires AI. So these are things that it would have to be, looked upon before you can adopt AI. And then back to the legal implications, there are just tons of them. people's data have to be well protected. It's not everything. And part of the issues people are having is that even students, we are prompting it, giving it this information. We don't know where the information is going. What they have told us is that they are using the information to train to make it better, but we just don't know. I don't know whether if I put in my name, my date of birth, maybe someone else is asking the AI tool about something similar, is going to bring out all of my information. Because every information is bringing out is being trained. There are things that he has already ingested and is bringing out to you. So legal implication is, So any company that is planning to adopt AI, you have to have an AI expert to work with. Just don't use it because other people are using it. Otherwise, it's something that can land someone in jail.
But Dr. Lola, I've mentioned something else, but I'll get back to you about the biased nature of artificial intelligence. So I'm going to come into that, but I want to share from your perspective, this legal implication. How do we safeguard? Dr. Lola talked about ensuring governance, ensuring that the policies are put in place, ensuring that certain aspects of your value chain, that there's the humanness to that, so that you don't sort of delegate AI to those areas that sort of manages sensitive information. But from your perspective, what are your thoughts around those legal implications?
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that these days when we use GPT, for example, and it wants to answer us sort of, I think either GPT and Gemini will say to you, this thing should still be fact checked because AI doesn't know. So it's important that as we engage it, we train it or teach it as a human, not as a god. In treating it as a god, you just let it, because it's predictive, you just let it think for you, do everything for you, instead of putting, like Dr. L said, putting the guardrails as well. I think about it like when we go to public spaces and you'll see the disclaimers or the notifications that, there are cameras in this place. Please note that, just know that there's a CCTV here and your image is being taken and all of that. It's important for us to always put it out there. Sometimes we use AI to look perfect, to look infallible. It's an illusion. Yes, it's an illusion.
Yeah. An illusion,
you need to create a system that allows for that disclaimer to be public, so that the day that it predicts something that you do not intend as a business, it is there. Whether they read it in your T&C or not, whether they clicked, they accept, and they didn't read it, it's not true. By the time it becomes a legal matter, the lawyer will ask you, did you see that it was said here? It's like doing personality tests. When you answer all those questions, the result comes back. And sometimes you read from paragraph 1 to paragraph 5 and it sounds all perfect until it now gives you one plus that does not look like you.
It's like if you begin to wonder what kind of...
Yes, but you already know that it's a test that you've taken, so you don't take them to...
perfect.
Yes, so it's important that as a business, you don't try to create an illusion that you are perfect, or that as a leader, you don't try to create an illusion that you're perfect. It's important to put it out there that this system is AI guarded or is AI, supported. So your results may not be 100%. You can reach us to further confirm so and so and so. So I believe that it's important for us to create that sort of governance around it.
Yeah, and what you have said, and just like Dr. L had mentioned, every company should have a data protection policy. Because, and I think there's a legal act in this part in Nigeria that actually safeguards against that. And it's really critical that is there, implemented, and it is part of things that you sort of iterate from time to time to ensure that you are up to date. Now, there's some questions before I go to the biased nature of artificial intelligence. And of course, I also want to sort of widen that scope around technology itself. But this is a question that goes to Dr. L, and also Shawa, you can also add your voice to this question. The question to Dr. L is that, given your work with Safer AI and Trust AI Chain, what do you see as the biggest vulnerability for Nigerian companies adopting global AI models? And how can we build trust in our local data ecosystems to mitigate that risk? I know that we have mentioned those things, but I just want to give some perspective of what your company does in mitigating against such.
Okay, so I'm a big advocate of human in the loop. I've said it over and over. So that might be a challenge for the Nigerian businesses. Like Adesewa said, everybody wants to use AI at all cost. That might be a challenge because we are not so used to disclosures, which you just explained, having to disclose to people that this is where AI is involved and it's something that is mandatory. We just have to obey laws. We have a EU AI Act that have been established. Different articles, Article 4, 5, 6, talks about each thing that every company needs to adopt. If you are going to be having businesses that deal with Europeans, and one way or the other, when you have your business, you just cannot say that, oh, it's only meant for Nigerians.
Yeah.
You don't know. Yeah. So we just have to abide by it. That might be a challenge for, that might be a challenge for us as Nigerians to be able to follow through. And also, when people are using AI, they have to be fully aware that AI is involved, like I mentioned earlier, and also to be able to have accountability. That is one thing that most companies lack. They dish it out. Yes, if anything goes wrong, nobody is accountable. That's part of the governance. You have to have people that are accountable at every point in time. If I'm the one doing the prompting, if that is my job, I should be fully accountable for the prompts that I put in. Whoever is fact checking, that is part of governance. We have this particular department that what they do is to make sure that they do their own due diligence, they do their own research. Otherwise, there will be failure, and then we'll be responsible to argue that in court at the end of the day, whereby losing resources or even for the businesses to even get shut down. Yes. So those are things that I tell my clients after having my assessment with them. This is where you need your governance. And then data protection is a big deal. You have to protect the data of the people that are doing businesses with you. Yes, data is the new gold. Even if it's just your name and your date of birth that I have a whole lot. Believe me, in this age of technology, you can do so much with that. So we should be able to guide our data. And then you spoke about cybersecurity earlier on.
Yeah.
Yes, even though my expertise is not, I'm not a cyber security person, but you have to have those people involved in your business. All the guardrails, the firewall, everything, it has to be put in place because it's so easy for people to break into the system and then cater all the data. Once you have data, believe me, you're one of the richest on earth. With data, you can do so much. And that is why big companies like Facebook and all that, they get sued all the time because they have all our data. Every time we come online, we are leaving our digital footprints. Yes. So, yes, at all times. So data is something that we have to guide against. As Nigerians, that has to, most people I've spoken with, some people, they don't see the value in it because we are so used to, okay, I know this person's phone number, I know this person's name. What's the big deal? It is a big deal. With that, there are legal implications. So we should be able to guide data. We should be able to be accountable for the AI tool that we are using. Human in the loop has to be involved at every point in time. So that may be challenges for businesses in Nigeria. But if you really want to be successful adopting AI, those are things that you just cannot overlook. It is mandatory. People should be aware of where AI is making decisions for them. Don't take people for granted, especially maybe people that are novice or disabled. Just don't bamboozle them and dish out something just because they are not aware. That's a serious legal implication. So anyone that is going to be adopting AI, you have to be accountable. Just don't think AI is there to help me. I'm using it as everybody is using. No, there's a huge legal risk if you're going to be using it. Be literate. Make sure that the people that you are working, when I say literate, I mean in AI, to be well versed and understand what you are doing. Yes. Yes. And then the people that you are working with, they have to be upskilling at all time. Do
Yeah.
trainings for them. Let them
Yeah.
understand what they are doing. Let them not see AI as just the buzzword, as it's so cool. There are businesses doing very well without AI. It's not everyone that is going to be able to use AI, because AI is huge. It's huge. But like what Adesewa said, Haliba is there to help. In their business, AI is very, very much needed, because you don't know when people will get online. I would need certain information.
That information, yeah.
Exactly. But it's not going to be all businesses will not be that way. So you have to know what you are doing and where you need AI. So that is one thing that I believe is kind of hurdles that businesses in Nigeria have to face and be able to skip to be successful at using it, at adopting it.
And again, there's something you mentioned, and I think Shawa mentioned it so eloquently in her earlier submission, which
Okay.
is strategy. That if you want to play big in this global economy, you can't just limit yourself to what is going on within your domiciled market. You need to begin to think about implications for scaling in all of these markets. And if in Europe, for instance, there's a European AI Act, like you mentioned, it's important for you to begin to see how that impacts on how you do business. And that's why Shell was talking about strategy, and I call it AI at scale. You need to begin to ask yourself, how do I want to scale? Because if you want to go into this market, there's certain things that you need to have within your business to be able to compete favorably within that particular space. And that is very important for each and every one of us. As a business owner, begin to think about, where am I going? If I'm going to go into this market, what are the expectations, and how can I use that or leverage on that as a capability for my business so that I can compete there? There's so much you said. I'm looking at my time. There's a question, and if you don't mind,
I'm sorry, can I quickly add to what
fantastic.
Dr. Lola shared?
Yes.
In terms of technology adoption, I always push for, because of this question of how the vulnerability for Nigerian organizations that are adopting global AI models.
Yes.
I always push for not just consuming content, but also creating and owning. What I mean by that is,
you're busting my brain. Oh gosh.
That's the accountability part.
What I've seen is, so for example, we take the EU Act.
Yes.
We downgrade it to our reality as a business. Because a lot of us as business leaders, we know what's going on in global markets. We don't know what's going on with our customers. So you can give the statistics for the customers in every industry, in fact, in your industry. But within your business, can you give the statistics of customer behavior that will now help you to create personalized solution that is artificially assisted? So that when you are sleeping, you already know that, for example, now, you already know that, this particular client likes to buy in Ikoyi, doesn't like Lekki phase 1, doesn't like, you already know. The moment you have something in that axis, you've pushed something. So you are selling to their, you are selling to what they already desire.
Yes.
It makes sales easy. So that's just breaking it down to our own industry, for example. So I'm just saying that, yes, the global AI models are there, but as a business, we must take responsibility for understanding how our business is operating and behaving. Yes. Then we can now put the acts together, put the articles. Okay, so how do we now adopt this to say, no matter where this business goes or is mentioned, we are still on track and we cannot fall into any legal issue.
All right, I need my brain to reset right now. I'm trying to reset my brain.
Reset.
Thank you. And you know what you have said right now is so practical. And this is exactly what Dr. Lola has been saying all along, that data is the new gold. This is oil. We can begin to use what we have and train AI. So your own customers, like you're rightfully saying, we can train AI, and what happens is that our customers becomes part of that universal set of information that we can use globally as well. So we're not just consumers as well, but we're also creating content with what we have. So we are not disadvantaged in any way. Critical question is the literacy, and that's exactly what Dr. Lola was saying, how you can use AI to help scale your business. Shewa. I was about to sing a song, but this is a public domain. You know the song I'm about to sing. Dr. Lola, I am enjoying this conversation. You can see everybody celebrating. But I need to quickly go through these questions so that I get my salary. Just joking. Now, somebody is saying here, and this is from a very academic, and I'd like both of you to throw your thoughts around this. It says, my challenge with AI is a bit different. I work in consultation and I write documents. Often I develop ideas, my own ideas, and I find something very close to it online. It means that if my document is passed through the AI tool for plagiarism, it might likely be flagged. How can this be dealt with?
Okay, so who should answer?
Dr. Lola, then Shawa would jump in. She would just do 1 2 punch 1 2 1 2.
Okay, so the issue of plagiarism excites me because I'm a professor, I lecture AI, and I have students. I teach graduate students, master's students wanting to have their master's degree in AI. So one thing about plagiarism is that it's actually real. Plagiarizing, taking credit for what you didn't write, and then you cite it like it's you that has written it. And part of the protocol I'm trying to put out there is the safer AI, which is I would explain in a bit later. So to avoid plagiarism, you always have to be transparent. That's the first thing. Nobody knows it all. Everything we are saying, we are learning it from somewhere. Give credit where it is due. When you get an article and then you are trying to write something similar, make sure you are completely transparent. If you got it from the AI tool, make sure you put something there. Give the detail. This is source. AI was used in part of what I am writing. And then when AI still gives you something, please do your due diligence to make sure that thing actually exists. If the article is written by maybe William, so and so, cite it there. If you are transparent, you don't have any issue with plagiarism in any form or shape at all. And that is all what plagiarism is all about. Don't run with other people's content pretending like those belong to you. Give credit where it is due. As a consultant, even if you are not a student, the person you are consulting with knows that you already know it, but just be transparent and say that this is where I got my facts from. There is nothing like being completely transparent. People will respect you more. They will actually know that, okay, this person takes the time to actually research this particular thing that I'm wanting for my company. So make sure you are doing your citations when you are talking to people. If you have to print out documents, list it on there. There's no shame in it at all. We just have to get used to it. And that is still part of the AI literacy that we are talking about. So plagiarism is going to be a no-no if you are completely transparent. So that is a way to combat it. Just combat it, be transparent, let people know. Combat it in the best way possible. Be honest, be transparent.
Okay, but before Shawa responds, the person who actually asked the question. So Adeyinka, would you want to give further clarification? Because I can see your hands are raised.
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Adeyinka.
Yes.
Please go on, please.
So this is not about plagiarism. I think you didn't get the question. I was not plagiarizing. The idea was mine, and I've seen that in a couple of other people. You develop an idea yourself, you are writing on it yourself, and then you just Google it, and then it pops up, and then it looks like you copied that person when you didn't. It has happened to a student before, and he found out 2 weeks later that something very close to the article he had just written was already online. So what do? You didn't plagiarize, you didn't copy, you developed that concept yourself. You didn't get it from AI or from any other person. That's the question I'm asking. It's not about somebody plagiarizing. No. It is the fear of being labeled that you have plagiarized because it is already online. But you didn't get it from that source. That's the question. Thank you.
Okay. So would you like me to go?
Yes,
Okay,
so
go.
then Dr. Lola can now
Since I
respond.
just spoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I saw the question, I just remembered what I usually tell my people. They are not that fantastic. And that's not to insult them. It is to further emphasize that there's, number one, nothing new under the sun. But number two, so I feel like there are many sides to this. As a consultant, I believe that one of the things you also want to begin to consider is trademarking some of your works. That's one. The issue of patenting and all of that, that's one. Two, what is the thing that is uniquely advantaged for you as a business? If there are many consultants, for example, training on the same thing, but when you show up in a room, whether you Googled it or you checked AI, something already exists in the line of what you do that will sound like what you do. But when you step in the room or when you deliver the work, what is the DNA of your work as a consultant? When I see your work, how do I know that it is your work? I believe that one of the things that AI is zooming in on for us is the importance of us identifying the DNA of our work personally. If my work shows up, how do people know that it's Adesewa that did it? When my results show, how do they know? How can people just say, did you actually have Adesewa in the room? It actually creates a challenge for us to begin to ask ourselves certain questions. So I think it's a good problem because it can be curbed. The fact that you've even asked it a question, you've given it more data, you've trained it with another data that is in your mind. So somebody else too will have that idea. Ideas are fluid though. As they are flowing like this, it's flowing to everybody. So AI is just further exposing that and then giving us a challenge to now sit and begin to ask ourselves, what makes my work my work? What makes my result my result? And I believe that if we can begin to drill deeper, we may not necessarily be bothered about if it will be plagiarized, because there is something unique about the results that we produce.
You know, Shewa, if I can just even make a quick comment here, and I totally agree with what you have said. And I was reading an article about the necessity of the humanness of what we do, which you have sort of alluded to around your DNA. So as a consultant, for instance, no matter how original your idea is, there's always some thought that is out there in cyberspace, somebody thinking alongside those ideas. I do not feel that there's any problem with you one or two citing. And again, I understand the uniqueness of this challenge, because what I hear her say is that by the time you go through those plagiarism tools, you're right, even though it's your original thought, certain buzzwords that you use will most likely pop up as someone else's idea, right? So sometimes it's always good for you. So when I write proposals to organizations in terms of crafting an idea based on trying to provide a solution, what I will usually do in terms of my executive summary is to always cite one or two thoughts that others have said and sort of synthesize my own ideas in that regard. But what usually happens, that safeguards the fact that I am agreeing to the fact that even though my ideas may look novel, but I'm also saying that there are larger thoughts that sort of adds to the body of work that I'm doing. What that does, it does one of two things. It shows mastery, that you are clear on what you're about to talk about, and you have read wide enough. And it also shows the fact that you are vulnerable enough to say that I'm not everything.
Yes.
Which also gives a level of confidence to whoever it is that is in the room. Guys, we are in a real world, and no matter what Shewa has put a spot on, our humanness must shine through. And that's why Dr. Lola's thought is so powerful around the fact that she said, the human in the loop. You have to have that across your value chain, including your work. Oh, wow. Time is it's time good. Let me ask, there's a last question here from Kola, or I think it's a thought from Kola. Kola says, well, I agree that AI can replace humans in entirety. Would it be fair to say that many thousands of people who lost their jobs at Amazon, Microsoft, Google, HP, and all of that, so on, due to AI adoption, were lazy? Kola, you're naughty. I'm sure Kola just trying to be naughty, but in that, what he has said is really key. Can we just look at that? Are we saying that they are lazy, or organizations are just making an excuse to just let people go?
Sometimes the organization has not even put anything in place to properly grade the usage. So you just come and say we want to use AI, and then you lay people off. It may not necessarily be that they're lazy. I mean, you already have engaged this staff for as long. So they're intelligent people. So there's probably something wrong with the governance.
I like that word, governance. Dr. L, please go on, man.
And just to add to that, it doesn't mean that they are lazy. But what I would say is every company wants to retain the very best, right? So it could be for different reasons. People that were laid off, maybe they refused to upskill. Yes, that is very, very important, because if you actually, like I always say, AI cannot just be used by itself. It's humans that have to prompt it, make it work. So for those people that have been laid off, I can tell you that they are being replaced by humans at the same time. But this time around, there will be humans that know how to use AI appropriately. So that's the reason why we need to just keep upskilling ourselves. We need to be able to learn at every point in time. It's those that are novice in the AI that they will let go. They are still hiring people. The same Microsoft, the same Facebook, Meta, and all of them that are laying off, they are still hiring at the same time. So what can we see from that? They are laying off people that refuse to upskill, refuse to be versed in AI, and they are still hiring people that, you know, really know what to do with AI. So that is where this thing is really, really interesting. Let's keep learning. Let's keep upskilling ourselves. Let's not wait until they say that the HR is organizing a workshop. We have to be there. No, on your own, you need to be able to learn. Everybody wants to keep people that are well versed in the AI. If you are not useful to them in that area, guess what? They let you go. So we need to keep improving. So back to that question, I'm not going to use the word lazy, but those are people that have refused to upskill. So if that tantamount to laziness, then let's call it laziness in that sense. Let's call it laziness. But I know nobody's lazy. You know, they've been there, like Adesewa said, they've been working. It's just that their focus is really not on learning what the company really wants.
That's it.
Yes.
I think Dr. Jumoke, in the earlier, when we were just bantering earlier, no, she did talk about the fact that a lot of people need to begin to, you know, when she was talking about this multidisciplinary approach to your career, that yes, I grew up with this background, but because of the realities of today, I have learned this. I think that multidisciplinary approach, for those of us who are in career right now, you need to think about it, because whether you like it or not, every business, and if you're a business owner, is heading in a particular direction. So you need to ask yourself, if I still want to be relevant in this industry or in this organization, I need to position myself where the business is headed to. And if I position myself there, then what are the necessary skills to become relevant in those areas? And let's be factual. There's certain job functions that, as we move along this path, that are going to become more and more redundant, because AI, our technology, will begin to evolve to begin to answer some of those performance gaps, as the case may be. I mean, when we look at generative AI, look at from when OpenAI created ChatGPT to what it is now, was less than, give and take, 2 years in terms of that rapid, in terms of its usage, in terms of its relevance in our day-to-day life. So can you just imagine the next 5 years? What's going to AI, and of course every other thing that's going to be on that particular pathway. So if you're on this journey, you need to begin to position yourself. I would have to bring this conversation. I think share what?
Can I quickly add to what you shared?
Please.
Not everybody is also a tech enthusiast. And speaking from the top management level, it's also important that leadership communicates their strategy. You know, because sometimes when we say that, some people did not upskill, they didn't know that the organization is even thinking in that light. I'll give you an example. Yes, I'll give you an example. There was this organization that did not even want their people to engage AI at all. But the staff were already engaging AI because, I mean, we are shifting with the time, and it became a sanction issue. So top level management also needs to, as technology is shifting, needs to be communicating. Okay, this shift is happening technological wise. This is how we are going as an organization. It's best for you guys to upskill, so that when it's part of compassionate leadership, so that when you now take decisions to lay people off, not like you're trying to be justified, but within the scope of the business and the leadership and the executive, you've communicated what you wanted. So it's not a case of we did not know. It was communicated. You're the one that didn't do the work. So thank you.
Shewa, it's just that I'm married, and I've married all of you right now. What?
Alex, please. I would like to add one thing as well.
All right.
Okay, so the only thing I would leave with everybody is that, please, individually, let's try to improve ourselves, because times are changing. And I will just give an analogy. I remember back then when I was in high school in Nigeria, we could never use calculators. It was a taboo. You use your 4-figure table. I got to a point, if you ask me, maybe sine 50, cosine everything, I knew everything by heart. Fast forward till today now, calculators are being used in schools. Is now the norm. I'm in academia as well. Initially, AI, they will tell us that if you see any students using AI, it's just 0. Don't even listen, because they have not done their due diligence. Now, schools are incorporating AI into their different curricula, making sure that students are versed in using AI, right? Only thing that we are stressing right now is that when you use AI, be transparent. Let us know the part that you have used AI to do. Let us know the due diligence that you have done, fact checking and all of that. So if schools can accommodate that with students, let's know that us that are much, are what I won't say older, because adults go to school and all that. Us that we are in the business sector, we have to improve ourselves. If it's certification you have to do, something that I'm not saying you have to learn how to code and all that. It's not all about coding. Leave those for developers. And now there are AI tools that can even help them to do the coding. So let us improve ourselves. It's the people that are not versed in AI that are going to be displaced, and they would hire people that know it. So let's just have that at the back of our minds. That's just what I have to say.
Thank you so much. Somebody just threw in a question here, and she has my wife's name, Oindamola, so I will just quickly entertain it. Can I just have, please, I'll quickly say it, but it's 1 minute, just 1 minute quickly, because and if I let you guys go, you're going to rip this question apart. Very quickly, I'll start with Shewa, then Dr. Lola will end. All right, the question is this. A question I have is this: are private conversations had with AI chatbots really private? Can another person ask the bot and they regurgitate the same information? For example, individual patient health records in my own healthcare practice. Shower, shoot, go.
The answer is no. No, no. Example, my assistant and I were looking for something. We're doing some research. So she said, oh, let me check. We're trying to pull up a title for something. Different platforms. One was GPT, one was Gemini. Gave us the same answer. Not at the same time, but the further we drilled down, it came up with the same answer. So it's not personalized. It's not a personalized experience. That's what I understand.
Okay. Dr. Lola, your thoughts?
Please ask the question one more time. I'm trying to clarify something. I'm trying to understand your question. What the
okay, so okay, ask it. Says, are private conversations had with AI chatbots really private? Can another person ask that bot and they regurgitate the same information? For example, individual patient healthcare records in my own healthcare practice.
Okay, so first thing is whatever we put in the AI tool is not private at all. And that is why I would discourage people from using their real information. Ask it for ideas, mask some things. If it's Lola's record that you are wanting, come up with fictitious numbers. Don't use my exact name, because this thing is ingesting information. And they've already told us if you're going to use ChatGPT, there's a disclaimer, you sign it, because every information you're putting inside it, they're using it to train, to improve, so that you'll be able to generate better output. So whatever you put inside, and that's part of the concerns of the students too, like everything we are putting inside, we don't know what they are doing with it. So it's possible that everything that you put inside, it will regurgitate and everybody would see it. So you have to be very careful. Mask some things. If you are looking for an opinion and advice, you don't necessarily have to put the real information in it. If the person's name is Shola Williams, don't put Shola Williams. Don't put the exact number. Come up with fictitious things, right? Just like they do in cyber security, encryption. So you are doing this encryption locally. Instead of using Lola, use something else. Okay, so we have to be careful. Whatever information we put inside is going to come out somehow, somewhere. You may not be aware, you may not even know where it's going to be. It can be in Europe, it can be in the US. So please be careful when you are using real information.
Yeah, I totally agree. Recently, I was working on a project for an oil and gas company, and in the project team, we're about 8, and we were trying to generate a set of reports. And I would tell you that at some point, and this we're using the paid version of ChatGPT, at some point, we were all getting the same thing. Because what had happened was that because we kept using the same different prompts, but with the same information, we noticed that ChatGPT, as we kept drilling down, at some point we just started having the same information, same words, same whatever. We did that with DeepSeek, although DeepSeek is a bit interesting. But with DeepSeek, same thing also happened, right? There was a little bit of variance here and there, but it was also the same thing. So
it's not that deep.
Yeah.
And
I'm always scared about DeepSeek, about China. I'm always so scared about DeepSeek and the Chinese government because I just don't know where that information goes to.
We don't know.
I'm very scared. Even with Claude. With Claude. I've tried Claude AI and I don't really like it. But I've tried it.
And then for companies, right, when they're adopting AI, they actually have experts. They actually do the jailbreaking to actually break it down and see whether this thing, people can actually get the information. Those are people's expertise to be able to do the jailbreaking, just like what cyber criminals will do. Yeah. Let's keep annoying it until it gives us the information that we have. So people actually know how to do this. Yes, as a profession.
We can annoy AI. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It will first.
But it doesn't get angry.
I'm not giving out this information, but if you keep throwing jabs using different techniques, eventually it will cave in and give you what you want because it's not human. For a human, I can decide to completely shut my lips and say, you know what, I'm not talking to Jumoke, I'm not going to do this. But with a robot, people know how to do it. Just keep enforcing it. Eventually, all those I wouldn't do anything. Okay, now is this what you want? Here it is. Have it.
Take it and
So
stop
we have to
disturbing
be
my life,
careful
Jerry.
So yes, we have to be very careful. Let's have it at the back of our mind that this thing is not human. So you actually can frustrate it and pour out all the confidential information.
I would have to bring this conversation to. I'm not too happy because can we celebrate these two lovely ladies? I have learned a lot.
Oh, thank you.
We really, and I also want to celebrate Kola for all his smiling and jabbing and always using his Kola. Thank you so also for making it fun as well. I also want to thank everyone that had asked questions, and the conversation, we have to put a pause. But I think one thing that the critical takeaway here is two things. Two things actually. The first one, from a business perspective, treat AI as AI. AI is not a god. One, AI is not a god, and think AI at scale. Two, if you are in the business, like working for an organization, right, begin to prepare for that inevitable reality. Truth be told, you may not be tech savvy, but there are other aspects of technology adoption that you can learn and grow in so that you position yourself for that future. I want to say thank you, Dr. L. Dr. Lola, thank you. Adesewa, what a wonderful time. I really enjoyed my conversation with all of you today. Thank you, everyone, for taking out the time. I know we're 20 minutes past our time. Women, blame them. It was the women. It's their fault. Blame them. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We're within time. 10:30, 11:30 is our exit, but this is fine.
Oh, 11:30. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's what AI did to you this morning.
Oh my gosh. All right, I've come to a close anyway. But again, I want to say thank you, Triad Masterclass series. Thank you for organizing this. We truly appreciate. It was time well spent. Ladies and gentlemen, all right, go and make AI, anger AI. Everybody go and anger AI right now. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice
Thank
weekend.
you. Very nice session. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.